SmarterMarkets is back in Lausanne, Switzerland for the 15th annual FT Commodities Global Summit. And I'm fortunate to be joined by Brian Menell, CEO and Chairman of TechMet. Great to see you again, Brian.
Great to see you.
So a whole lot has happened in your world since the last time we talked here at Lausanne. I was wondering if you just kind of bring us up to speed with what you're seeing in the critical mineral space right now.
We're seeing an escalation of everything we were seeing last year with respect to focus of attention on critical minerals supply chain security in the US and increasingly in Europe and elsewhere, both in two ways. One is counter China and better understanding and focusing on action to balance China's overwhelmingly dominant control, and also increasingly focus on the fundamental inefficiencies of scalability of the supply of our metals, and therefore structural short supply medium term with or without China, right, or worse without China. And that's a factor that radically complicates what we need to do to transform our industry. And it's not just driven, as it has been over the last few years, by perceptions of growth and demand from batteries, electric vehicles, renewable energy systems. It's been added to by increasing focus on growth and demand driven by manufacturing of defense systems, and obviously AI data centers, the energy infrastructure associated with AI data centers, and something that we haven't yet had adequate analysis and focus on is the critical minerals requirements for the technologies that will accelerate out of the next phase of AI, like humanoid robotics and autonomous driving and autonomous drone systems, all of which are very critical minerals intensive.
And recently, there's been a much more increased focus in Washington, D.C. on the critical minerals situation. What sort of movement do you see there, and what do you think we need to see if we're going to try to catch up to what China's done?
We certainly need to have what is now being proposed happen. So we do need US and other non-Chinese government engagement in the critical mineral supply chain on an order of magnitude that's unprecedented in history if we are going to move the dial with respect to balancing China's position and ensuring adequate supply to feed industry and industrial growth and competitiveness and jobs in the US and Europe and elsewhere. And therefore, all of these programs to de-risk and support non-Chinese critical mineral supply chain initiatives need to be executed and need to be bigger and need to be quicker. And that's the challenge. You know, there's the commitment to do big things and new things in order to achieve these imperatives. The capacity in the system to execute and deliver and deploy capital to actually build projects and, produce what we need to produce is all as lags. And there's a lot of willingness and a lot of intent and a lot of determination to unblock the blockages and execute quickly on a large scale, but it has a lot of challenges.
And for people who aren't familiar with that, the mining space as you are, to do something quickly, are we talking years or decades?
That is the challenge. Yeah. To transform the critical mineral supply chain as we must involves capital-intensive long-term projects that often take years, not months, to develop to production. And therefore, there are no magic bullet quick fixes, but that doesn't mean we should throw up our hands and say that China's won and there's nothing we can do about it, because every day and every month we can make a difference. And that's what we're doing as TechMet across our 10 operating companies. But none of it's quick or easy.
And at the same time, obviously we've had the conflict between the US and Israel and Iran. It's kind of upended commodity markets. How is that affecting the markets you operate in and your business?
It's obviously volatility and uncertainty affects everybody in terms of risk appetite of capital and general market economic climate. We have some elements of positivity from a critical mineral supply chain security perspective, in that any conflict and instability refocuses attention on supply chain vulnerability. We also have an advantage, or a positive, in the sense that defense industries, use all of our metals. And again, there's a focus on growth of demand and insecurity of supply chains eating defense industry. So it has pluses and minuses. I mean, we're lucky to have slightly more of the pluses, and while the world has slightly more of the minuses.
Got it. And you're good enough to sit down with us on day one of the Commodities Summit. Curious, what do you think the conversation is going to be, and what types of conversations would you like to be having here, given how much is going on in the world right now?
Again, I don't think there's anything new. It's just become more urgent and more pressing and more obvious what we have to do in order to mobilize the right financing and the right support and the right partnerships to totally transform the supply chain of these critical minerals that we need to be delivered in a manner that is not controlled by China, that's clean and responsible and scalable. So I don't think there's anything new. It's just the situation in Iran and the markets in general just simply add to the focus of attention on the imperatives and the scale of the challenges and opportunities, of which there are many.
And you're going to be speaking on a panel in a couple of hours. What are you looking forward to discussing on the panel? The critical mineral supply chain security landscape is one that is so rapidly changing, so important, so challenging, that all the debate and all the in ways in which we can add to the level of understanding and analysis and focus are ones that are extremely important for us to participate in. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing your panel. Thanks for sitting down with us, Brian. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.